And one of the House Democrats who prosecuted the case against the former president, Congressman Ted Lieu of Los Angeles, puts it this way.
You know, I'm not afraid of Donald Trump running again in 4 years. I'm afraid he's going to run again and lose, because he can do this again.
And joining us now is Congressman Ted Lieu. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Kristen. Honored to be on your show.
Yeah, Congressman, you know, the line that we just showed, that was your most memorable moment during the trial. You said, I'm not afraid of Donald Trump running again in 4 years. I'm afraid he's going to run again and lose. Explain what you meant by that and whether you still fear that scenario.
Well, what we saw happen is this time, Donald Trump ran, he lost the national election, and then instead of accepting the will of the people, he decided to launch an insurrection against the United States of America, resulting in a violent attack on our Capitol and multiple deaths. He could literally do that again in 4 years. And we wanted to make sure that he could not do that. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get a conviction, but we did get a vote of 57 to 43, which in any other context is actually not close. So the overwhelming majority of the Senate believed in our case.
You did get that, and also you got this. The Ipsos Reuters poll showing 71% of Americans now hold Trump at least partially responsible for the Capitol insurrection. So overall, do you consider the impeachment trial outcome a win? And I wonder if there's anything you would have done differently in retrospect.
I'm very pleased with how the impeachment trial went, and I do believe it was a win. We have now cemented Donald Trump's legacy in history as one of dishonorable and disgraceful conduct with inciting an insurrection. I think it makes it very difficult also for people who supported this insurrection to be able to explain themselves. And if you saw what the minority of Senate Republicans did, they did not defend Donald Trump's conduct in any way. They really talked about this issue of lack of jurisdiction, which really, to me, was a willful misreading of the Constitution.
All right. Well, yesterday, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi announced a 9/11-style commission to investigate the causes and facts relating to the Capitol insurrection. In your opinion, is that a good idea? And are there other venues, avenues, if you will, to hold President Trump accountable?
I think it is a terrific idea. We need an independent commission to look into all aspects of January 6th. There's a lot of security issues that I would like to know more about in terms of how was there such a massive breakdown that allowed all these domestic terrorists to overwhelm the police officers. And there's a lot of issues that just need to be addressed and answered. In addition, we do know, according to Senator McConnell, that the criminal justice system is available for Donald Trump to hold him accountable. And we already see in Georgia a district attorney looking at Donald Trump's conduct in the election to see if he violated any criminal laws.
Now that the impeachment process is done, all focus is on the stimulus bill, for Congress anyway, and President Biden is on the road today making the case for the $1.9 trillion plan. How quickly do you think most Americans can expect to see their checks, and do you expect it to be $1,400?
We're working as fast as we can. In fact, during the impeachment trial, the various committees in the House were meeting remotely and passing out various sections of the bill. We expect to vote on the full legislation next week at some point, and then send that on to the Senate, and then the Senate will take a look at it, and then hopefully we can get this done sometime in March. So that is basically the timeline.
I mean, you have the numbers, you have the majority right now, but I'm sure you hope for Republican support. But do you expect it after this bitter impeachment process?
We do hope for Republican support. And this impeachment process, I wouldn't characterize as bitter. It is the most bipartisan impeachment process in history. We had an overwhelming bipartisan majority of the House vote for impeachment, as well as an overwhelming bipartisan majority of the Senate vote for conviction. So this was a very bipartisan process.
All right. I do want to ask you what you make of a lot of the Republican senators who voted to convict now getting censured by their state party machines back at home. What does that say to us?
You're watching the radicalization of the Republican base in real time. And one reason is based on a new poll that came out, you see an increasing number of people actually leaving the Republican Party. And so what ends up happening is the non-radical people leave the Republican Party, and as it gets smaller, it becomes more radicalized. Unfortunately, that is not good for America. Hopefully, we can have leaders in the Republican Party try to really tell their base that they need to rely on facts and rely on evidence and stop rejecting science and what people see with their eyes and hear with their ears.
I want to bring things back to here in California. What are your thoughts on the recall effort right now against Governor Newsom? Are you concerned that it may actually come to pass?
I think Governor Newsom has been doing a fantastic job, and we see that COVID is again being suppressed. We see with every passing day more vaccines being distributed. I think this recall effort really is something coming from this radical base of Republicans and QAnon believers and other folks, and I fully support Governor Newsom.
Okay. Before we go, I want to ask you one thing, and that's been, I'm sure you noticed, a horrible rash of attacks on Asian Americans, especially the elderly, a bunch of them here in California and the Bay Area. The Bidens recorded a Lunar New Year message last week. They said about hate crimes against Asian American Pacific Islanders, they said it's simply wrong. It's a stain on our national character. Every person, no matter their race, background, religion, or language they speak, deserves to be treated with dignity and respect. I wonder, Congressman Lieu, how important and ultimately useful do you think such a message coming from the president from the top will be in making things better?
One reason we saw an increase in hate crimes is because the former president used racist language, terms like kung flu, and he mocked Asian Americans. It's also one reason he lost in critical swing states where there were enough Asian Americans that voted overwhelmingly for Joe Biden. And now we have a President Biden that, thank goodness, does not use racist language, and he respects all Americans, and he also understands that hate crimes are on the rise, and he's doing everything he can to make sure that we mitigate the number of hate crimes against Asian Americans, as well as against all Americans, regardless of what color you are.
Congressman Ted Lieu of Los Angeles, always great talking with you. House impeachment manager. I know you probably got no sleep last week, so I do appreciate you taking the 10 minutes to chat with us today. Take care.
Thank you.
Oh, happy Lunar New Year.
Thank you. You too.
All right.